Stephen and Kimberly Rico arrived at Harbortown Resort on Valentine's weekend, 1998. The eastern shore of Maryland was cold and quiet. Friends thought Stephen was a loyal man, the kind who would help anyone. He and Kimberly had been married for 9 years and had a young daughter. The marriage was failing. Kimberly told people the trip was meant to fix things. She said it was supposed to be a weekend of talking, not sex. But that plan fell apart quickly. An argument started in their room. Kimberly left. When she came back, Stephen was dying. Nothing about that weekend went the way anyone expected. The argument in the hotel room turned into something much worse. Kimberly claimed Stephen had been drinking heavily. She said he wanted sex. She refused. The fight escalated until she grabbed her keys and walked out. The February air was cold and dark. She drove away from Harbortown Resort without looking back. When she finally returned, smoke was coming from the door of their room. Hotel workers broke down the door and found Stephen on the floor. His back was against the bed. His upper body was black from fire. His legs were almost unharmed. He was already gone. The first responders saw a scene that looked familiar. A man drinking alone, a cigar left burning, a bed catching fire. It happened more often than people wanted to admit. The beer bottles on the nightstand supported that story. The cigar package with one missing supported it. The adult magazine on the floor suggested a man relaxing by himself. Everyone felt terrible for Kimberly. She had lost her husband on Valentine's weekend. She was a widow at a young age. Her daughter would grow up without a father. The police prepared to close the case as a tragic accident. Dr. David Fowler did not close the case. He started the autopsy with routine tests. The carbon monoxide test was first. It came back negative. That meant Stephen had not inhaled any smoke while his heart was still beating. Dr. Fowler found that strange. He opened the chest to look at the lungs. The walls of the room were black with soot. The ceiling was black, but Stephen's airway was clean. His lungs were pink and healthy. No soot at all. A living person breathes smoke in a fire. Stephen did not. He was dead before the flames appeared. The toxicology report arrived and raised more questions than answers. Pesticides showed up in Stephen's blood. The levels were not high enough to kill him, but they should not have been there at all. The report also found an antidepressant, a flu medication, and muscle relaxants. Those drugs came from prescriptions. Then came the strangest result. No alcohol. Zero. The crime scene photographs showed beer bottles on the nightstand. Empty bottles. Someone drank that beer, but Stephen did not. Dr. Fowler doubted himself. He took new samples from the body. The second test matched the first. No alcohol. No carbon monoxide. The Maryland Fire Marshal's office conducted experiments to test the cigar theory. Hotel bedding is required by law to resist fire. Experts placed a smoldering backwood cigar on a pillowcase. The cigar burned down and went out. The pillow did not catch fire. They tried again with 2 cigars. Nothing. A deputy from the fire marshal's office used 3 cigars at the same time. They burned themselves out on the fabric. The pillow was undamaged. Then an accelerant detection dog walked through the burned room. The dog sat down and alerted. There was gasoline or lighter fluid on the floor. Someone had started the fire on purpose. Detectives looked into Stephen's personal life and found a love triangle. Kimberly had been seeing a Marine officer named Brad Winkler. The affair started at a wedding in November 1997. Brad was in shape, professional, and nothing like Stephen. But Brad had a solid alibi for the murder weekend. He was on military assignment in South Carolina. Phone records and witnesses placed him far from Maryland. Then, police looked at Mike Miller, Stephen's best friend. Mike worked at the resort and had access to pesticides, but Mike was home with his wife and children. 2 suspects, 2 alibis, both were eliminated. A detective named Sergeant Gamble found the store that sold the cigars. The price tag was unique. He showed photographs to every clerk who worked there. One clerk pointed to Kimberly Rico. The clerk remembered the interaction because of Kimberly's attitude. She asked where Kimberly dyed her red hair. Kimberly became angry and insisted the color was natural. The clerk never forgot the meanness of that response. The receipt showed Kimberly bought backwood cigars and Budweiser beer, exactly what was found in the burned room. Kimberly had told police she did not buy anything. The clerk proved she was lying to cover up the staging. Kimberly worked at Holy Cross Hospital in the operating room. Dr. Fowler knew what that meant. She had access to succinylcholine, a drug that paralyzes every muscle in the body. The victim cannot breathe, cannot move, cannot call for help. The drug breaks down into natural substances within minutes. No autopsy can find it. A co-worker coworker named Kenneth Burgess told police that Kimberly asked him to kill her husband. Police recorded a phone call between Ken and Kimberly. She was nervous. She tried to pretend it was a joke. Then she said, "You gave me some really good advice that day." The advice was to use succinylcholine. Police went to arrest Kimberly. At the same time, she attempted suicide and was taken to a hospital. A detective sat on the edge of her bed. She was crying. She was panicked. She leaned forward and said, "I did it." Her lawyer walked into the room and she stopped talking. At trial, the jury heard about the cigars, the beer, the liquor store clerk, the affair, the hospital drug, and the staged fire. They found her guilty of first-degree murder and first-degree arson. She received a life sentence. Stephen's best friend named his daughter Stephanie. They called her Stevie. It was the only way to keep Stephen's memory alive.